Hey, what's going on, y'all? My name is Jordan.
And I'm Juanita.
And this is Love Does Cost a Thing.
It costs everything, baby.
Shouts out to UNASHAMED Apparel,
Woo,
the
woo,
one
woo.
and only. Shop UNASHAMED.com. Get your UNASHAMED Apparel, 10% discount.
Yeah.
Use the code LDCAT for a 10% discount on your entire order.
Yeah.
What's the name? Shop UNASHAMED.com. Don't wait, go today.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. This is a controversial question, but we're going to debunk it today. We're going to talk about this topic that is honestly causing a whole lot of marriages to end in divorce, unfortunately, and a whole lot of potential marriages to go through unnecessary hoops.
Yeah.
And really, I think that it is a testament to how influential society is. But as it pertains to how we should live our lives, especially as followers of Jesus, when it comes to this topic, I think that doing it the way that we'll explain it to you will yield a much better result.
Yeah.
So we're going to answer this question today. Should married couples have separate money? Are y'all ready to get into this? Juanita, I want you to take the stage first,
Sure.
Okay? Tell me what your take is. You can answer as simply or as profound as you like. Do you think that married couples should have separate money?
So I would say yes and no.
Okay.
And this is what I mean by that. I think that, or not I think, but that when you become one, you become one. Not
Everything.
just in the physical, but financially, like all the other things that come with it, you become one. I think when it comes to, like, people may say, like, oh, my husband pays all the bills. Like, okay, that's cool. Or, like, you know, my husband took me out to dinner.
Whose bills are they?
Well, when my husband takes me out to dinner, he just swipe his card instead of mine, but it still come out of the same bank account, you know?
Whose bills are
so, yeah, so I think, like, working from those separate mindsets of, like, this money is mine and this money is mine, it puts a lot of stress on your relationship, because then the whole relationship, the whole marriage, you're fighting to keep what is yours. And ultimately, the whole purpose of you becoming one is dying to yourself.
Yeah, there is no yours.
There is no yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's y'all.
You're yielding everything that you have to your spouse.
And everything means everything.
Yeah. But I did say yes and no, because sometimes some spouses may have things where they'll say, hey, I just want this for just Juanita to be able to spend on Juanita. I'm going to put that to the side for Juanita. Hey, Jordan needs to just spend something on Jordan, like that. That's what I mean, yes and no.
Yeah.
Because I think that it is okay to have a separate account that says, hey, listen, we had a little extra this month. Go buy yourself something nice. You know, things that go beyond, like, our bills, the things that we need, that can say, hey, listen, we had a little extra, or we saved to the side, and, you know, I want you to go buy that new outfit that you've been thinking about. And so I think in those instances, I do think that it's okay. But again, I think that that's more of, like, a luxury.
Yes.
I don't think that that's, like, the foundation. I think becoming one, having a joint account, whatever that looks like for you, I think is really important to have that conversation with your spouse.
Why is it, I agree with you. Why is it problematic, in your opinion, to have separate money? Let me put parameters around separate money. He pays the bills. His money pays the bills. His money or her money, whatever, like whoever, right? Why is it dangerous to have this mindset in your marriage?
Yeah, man, I think it's because you just put this pressure on your spouse, and you create unnecessary, like, issues. Here's an example. If I say to myself, oh, he pays the car insurance and I pay the mortgage, and let's say the car insurance doesn't get paid, right?
Do you have no more car?
You know,
are you going to let it go unpaid because his money is supposed to pay for it? You
know, and I think it puts you in a bind, because, again, you're working as two individuals who live together.
There you go.
Versus two individuals who are becoming one.
Go.
And I think that, and people may think that this is too deep, but I have heard this saying, what you do in one area or in one thing, you do in all things. And so you think to yourself, oh, nah, this is just my money and this is just his money. But that's what you think about everything. This is my car, that's his car. This is my kid, that's his kid. This is mine over here. This is his over there.
Yeah.
You think that in everything.
Yeah, and the danger in that is that it causes division.
Yes.
Meaning you guys aren't on the same page. You're divided. You are not a united front. You are not becoming one.
Yeah.
You're not on the same page. And you cannot walk together.
Yeah.
You cannot live together. You cannot be married together if y'all don't agree. Meaning, not that y'all won't have disagreements, but when I say agree, I mean generally speaking, y'all are on the same page.
Right, yeah.
Or you guys work hard to get on the same page.
Yeah.
This is a true testament to the health of your marriage, if whether or not you are willing to share your money.
Here's the thing too that I think people don't recognize is that when you don't become one, you open yourself up to a lot of failure. And what I mean by this is that marriage is not always 50-50. It's not always, hey, I take care of mine and you take care of yours. In certain seasons, I may need to be at 100 and Jordan's at 0. In certain seasons, Jordan may need to be at 80 and I'm at 20. And that's how marriage works. And it's the same way with your money. So this month, I may not have made as much money as I want. So now is it, woe is Juanita and something's wrong with Juanita because I wasn't able to bring as much?
Let's think about this too. I'm sorry. Finish your thought.
No, I was just saying, like, when you become one, though, and your money is one, it doesn't matter where the money comes from.
Right.
Because your bills are paid.
Right.
Versus this idea that this is my money and this is your money. Now you're always thinking about, he only brought in half of his check this week. When it don't matter if the bills are paid, right? Or unless there's something else going on, of course. But I'm just saying, like, it just alleviates all of that extra, like, pressure that you're putting on yourself or even your spouse to do something that, like, you guys are both working together to eventually do anyway.
I'm going to cut right to the chase. If you haven't...
I'm going to just shoot straight.
Straight from the hip. If you have an issue with relinquishing control over your quote-unquote money, then you don't trust your partner. You don't trust them.
I mean...
all right, you feel free to give me
No, I don't disagree with you. I think that some people have a right to not trust their partner.
Here we go.
And I think that's
and I was getting ready to get there.
I think that's the
if you don't trust your partner
with your
money, you don't marry them. Don't marry them. This is the problem. You married them thinking that they would change. Remember, believe who they show you themselves to be. Believe who they show you that they are. Okay.
Yeah. Or if they're not willing to do something different with making better choices, right? Because we don't always marry the person right where we want them to be.
Yeah.
But again, we don't marry essentially for potential, but like some people know, okay, hey, I messed up, like, and I am putting forth the effort. You see the fruit,
but there's the willingness,
right? Like, yeah, they have to be willing. I was just talking to somebody about that today. Like, people have this idea that when you get married, it's like things are just supposed to happen, and it's like marriage is not two perfect people who get married and have a perfect life.
Yeah,
marriage is literally two imperfect people trying to figure out how to live a life as one.
Two imperfect,
you know what I'm saying? And how do you do that?
Yeah.
You have to be able to communicate. You have to be willing to be like, hey, I see it from this perspective. You see it from this perspective. I don't agree with that. Hey, okay, you don't agree today. That's fine. But listen, where's the compromise? Where's the middle ground?
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's a lot of, not just with money, but a lot of things that I think that couples and particularly marriage couples struggle with is that willingness piece.
Yep.
Not always, like your spouse is not always willing. And I think like that's why as believers, we lean so heavily on Holy Spirit because I don't always feel like submitting myself to my husband. I don't always feel like, laying down my personal desires and attitudes and stuff like that. My flesh tells me I'm justified in doing X, Y, and Z, but then Holy Spirit tells me that's not kind to your husband.
Yeah.
And vice versa. And so that's
even
why,
if you are right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why having Holy Spirit, and that's why we say being a believer is everything. We don't just do life to just do life. Everything that we do should be pleasing unto the Lord. And so in those instances, like how you don't trust your spouse in this case or whatever the case may be, it's like you have to be able to be willing to do something different,
Yeah. Back to the point in regards to the trust aspect. It really is an indicator of how much you trust your person. And if you don't trust them, you'll never become one. If you are not vulnerable in these areas, then you'll never become one. And furthermore, when we talk about splitting money, let's say there's the expectation that the husband is the provider and his money is the one that pays all the bills. And I've actually heard this. I was talking to someone a while ago who was dating a young lady who literally said out of her mouth, because your money, talking to the guy, is our money, but my money is my money. And I'm like,
are they married?
No, they were just dating.
But
really
still,
just figuring each other out, right? But it's the mindset that I really want to address.
Yeah.
When you say your money is our money, but my money is my money, what does that say? What does that communicate, rather, to your person, your husband, if that's the the arrangement that you guys have? Now, if let's say you guys want to make your husband's income or the husband's income the one that takes care of everything, and there's a 2-income household, right? Your husband's income takes care of everything, and the wife's income is like investments or building for a future home, whatever, right? I mean, I think that that's perfectly fine because you guys are on the same page about your money,
right? And that's what all of this boils down to.
There is no. In essence, I don't think that there's a separation between the two. But when you, like, I've literally, I hesitate to divulge too much detail in case they watch this video, but many years ago, I heard someone that I knew talk about how they had a secret stash just in case they had to get away. Real talk. She said this out of her mouth, and I'm like,
yeah, I heard something similar. I heard something similar.
If you have to have a secret stash, that is a red flag. That means that you should have never gotten into it from the beginning. Or if you're already in it, that means that there is something deeper that y'all need to work out together. Yeah. You don't need to have a getaway stash. Y'all need to be on the same page. Okay? And so when you are becoming one, I think that it is important to be attracted to your person of the utmost importance, right? Listen, let me keep it real.
Gotta look good.
I think that you should be attracted to them. I think they should be kind, all those things. But at the end of the day, there has to be a willingness to work it out. Now, when it comes to money, this is where a lot of people get hemmed up. Especially when it comes to like men who have this idea that because it's their money, whatever they says goes. Nah, bro, it's y'all money. It's y'all money. Even if there is only one income in the household, that's y'all money. Why? Because y'all are not two separate people anymore. For this reason, shall a man leave his father's house and unite to his wife, or cleave unto his wife, and the two become one flesh. Y'all are not two separate people anymore. And the more you operate as two separate people, the more divided you guys are going to be. You're never going to have the assurance that a marriage is supposed to have. You're never going to have the comfort or the assurity that a marriage is supposed to have. You got to merge your money.
No, I think that's good because I think it goes back to this idea of like what goes wrong when you have separate money. And it's exactly that. It's like you're holding on to that little piece of like me. And I was just thinking
there is no more me.
I was just thinking about how it could cloud your communication as well, because when you have separate money, then you don't really know how much money you have, right? Like, I don't know what my husband is making if he doesn't communicate that to me, or I have to rely on him to communicate that to me. Now, don't get me wrong. I know people that have been married for long periods of time, but I know someone personally who received their paycheck a certain way, so they did not have to fully communicate all that they had to their spouse. And again,
that's sick.
For whatever reason,
That's
right?
sick.
That person felt like that they needed to do that. But here's the thing. Like, you have no idea. You have no idea what wisdom your partner can offer, right? What perspective your partner could give based on that money, right? Like, you're thinking to yourself, oh, it may not be enough money. And your partner can be like, oh, no, if you just move this around here and put this over here, then we can do this, this, and this, right? And so you're so busy trying to hold on to this little piece that you want to call you, girl, boy, whoever you are. Like, if you don't tell your spouse, hey, I'm putting $10 aside so I can do this. Every paycheck I'm putting $10 aside because I eventually want this.
Right.
You don't need to hide that. Like, just be open and communicate that. Like, and I think it's exactly what my husband is saying is like, and if you're afraid to do that or you're hesitant to do that, then there's some issue with trust there. Whether it's from past relationships and that's something that you need to be healed from. Whether it's something that's happened in your current relationship with your current spouse. Again, something you need to heal from. Or maybe it's just nothing, like there's nothing there, but like there is something there that is holding you back. Again, that's something that you guys need to work on. And that should be at the forefront before you start talking about moving money and making money moves and stuff like that. We need to get to the root of this. Why is it that I'm scared or nervous to communicate how much money I'm making to my partner? Like, you know what I'm saying? And then here's the other thing too, when you talk about money, that gets a little funny, your debt. And so that's why it's important before you get married.
You just open up
to be able to communicate that. We're not gonna go in depth, but it's important, right? Because that is, I've heard people say like that's why they don't want to get married because then your debt becomes my debt, and that's why it's important. But here's the thing: when I say until death do us part, that means your bad habits. Yeah. That means your debt. That means your attitude. Yeah. That means you're unwelcoming, whatever the case may be. That means all of that. It doesn't just mean the good. It literally says like for better or for worse, right? And so that's why it's so important to have these types of conversations up front before you tie the knot. Because once you tie the knot, that's it, baby. You got to figure it out. Yeah. And you could figure it out before then and be like, oh no, this is not a debt I'm willing
tie the knot.
This is not something I'm willing to collect here, okay? Or you can say to yourself, hey, that's not that bad for me. Yeah. Here's some steps that we can take to, fix that. But
I think that that's beautiful. When you withhold finances from your partner, when you have issue with this, you are doing yourself and your partner a disservice because you're saying you can only have this part of me. Number one. On the opposite end of that, you are missing out on what could be because you won't merge your finances. If it's a 2-income household, especially, how much more could you guys do if your money is merged together? In addition to it, since you open up the can, I'm going to open up a little bit more in regards to debt. If you're married, bro, and she has debt, or you have debt, and one of you passes away, guess who has debt? You got it. You inherit that in some cases, right? And so like you don't want to make this mistake of withholding for the sake of security if something goes wrong. Don't already plan to fail. Yes. You know, like have some faith. If you are not a man or a woman of faith, you should not get married. Period. I don't think that you should. And because there's going to be so many obstacles, not necessarily between you guys, but just in life in general, that you are going to be required to go through together. And so you have to relinquish your control if you want to become one. Yeah. If you want to grow together, if you want to have the assurance of a healthy, strong marriage, you have to relinquish that, and that includes your money. Yeah, that includes your money. What sense does it make, bro, for you to spend all the money in your account for the sake of you being, the person who takes care of everything, and she has an income and it's just sitting in her bank account? Watch. That is a lack of wisdom, because the money that's sitting in her bank account could be put to use. But her money is her money. Or sis, maybe it's you who has this mindset. You're doing y'all a disservice when that money could at the very least be working for you. But you want to have some control over what you make. No. It's a grave mistake. Yeah. Merge your money and watch how much stronger your relationship gets. Yeah. Now, here's the thing. Let's talk about this practically, because I don't want to feel like make people feel like we're shaming them. The practical side of merging your money requires you both to be disciplined. You got to be transparent about what you're making. Has to be written down. Each person has to have access to it. And you need to have a budget. Every dollar that you earn has a responsibility. It has a job. If maybe you work in like a freelance type of job, or maybe you're like a waiter or waitress and you get tips, you need to write it down. It needs to be on paper where both of you guys have access to. Especially if you guys are going through a season where you are transitioning, you know, from maybe a tougher financial season, right? Write it down. Have your plan so that y'all can be on the same page to be able to hit the target together.
Yeah. And
watch how this enhances your relationship, y'all.
Yeah.
I promise you it will, because this is the area that you need to be most vulnerable in, not just in some areas, in every single area.
Yeah. Now, and last but not least, I just wanted to say, and don't be afraid to invest in your education, like in your financial education. You know, we have a financial advisor, and there were so many things in one of like our first or second meeting that we learned that we were just like,
wow. And it was so simple. Like,
you know, things that we don't like think about every day, because I'm not thinking about money in that way. One exercise he said was like we had to give him like a month worth of like our bank statements, I think. And he was literally like, "Oh, you say you can't afford this? Well, this is how much you spent eating out this month.
There's your money right there."
And we were like,
"This is you being able to afford it. It's right there."
And we didn't even know. And he was just like, "Yeah, because $10 over there, $20 over there, $15 over there, $7 over there, all of that adds up." And those little things, again, that you probably are looking at us like really wanting to enjoy it. And we like, yeah, we ain't know.
Yeah.
Right? And so, especially if you come from a home, right, or a background that maybe did not teach you financial literacy, right? All of the ways to make your money work for you, investing, right? Saving, right? Spending, like budgeting. Like, not everybody comes from a space like that. So invest in it, right? If you don't know how to work out, you don't know what to do, you invest in a trainer. Right? If you're trying to go to school, you invest in an educator to teach you to do whatever it is that you're trying to do so that you can do it for yourself. Your finances are the same way. Like, don't sit there and be like, well, I didn't know, so that's why I'm making bad choices. No. And it doesn't mean that, like, you know, we got YouTube University. Like, we have a lot of things that you can do for free. Right. Okay? That you can invest in to really just, like, make sure that you're being financially literate, so that you can make the most out of the money that you're being blessed with.
Life is long and it's for living, and it will require proper management of your money to be able to live it well. I want to say also that if you are struggling in this area, it would be to your advantage to get some accountability. Maybe an older, wiser couple that can help you guys through this season. Maybe one or the other person in your relationship is a little bit more stubborn. Everybody needs to be able to say yes sir, yes ma'am to somebody. We have people like that. And everybody needs it. It's going to help you to get to where God has already destined for you to go to. Y'all, this is a great episode. Hopefully you learned something. Drop a comment if you got one. If you want to give us a donation, there's a Cash App in the description below. We sincerely appreciate and love you guys.
And don't forget to like
and subscribe.
Comment
and subscribe.
Share.
Ring the bell.
Okay.
And subscribe. My name is Jordan.
And I'm Juanita.
And this is Love Does Cost a Thing. We'll catch you on the next one.